I'm your host, Nova, and we're here at the Season 2 premiere of Single Drunk Female in New York City. If you were Sam's real-life friend, what kind of advice would you give to her?
I actually love the advice that my character does give to Sam, which is sort of, there's no advice. Like, you have to forge your own path, and I think that that's definitely something that, you know, people are always full of a lot of advice, guys, especially on the internet. And I think sometimes, like, one size fits all doesn't really work, and you have to figure out what your own journey is.
Definitely. It's very individualized.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of which, what kind of characteristics do you think that Sam is building this season versus the first one? What kind of improvements do you see in her?
Well, I was just thrilled to be a part of the journey in terms of, like, her finding or looking for a higher power and, like, what that means to every person. Again, it's, like, so individualized. And so, I don't know, I thought the way that the storyline goes is really very beautiful. I don't know, like, I think that she's a different kind of sponsor for Sam, obviously. Like, she just brings a different energy. She's not giving her answers, she's asking more questions, and she's being kind of challenging, and her methods are a little bit unorthodox at times. But ultimately, it's, like, about pushing Sam further, like, outside of what her comfort zone is, but while maintaining, like, the safety of the sobriety.
And then my last question, what do you hope that the audience takes away for this season?
I don't know. I hope they really enjoy it. I think it's a really fun season, and it's really hopeful. And personally, you can ask my child, I really, at this moment in time in history, want to watch hopeful things, hopeful television shows.
What are you most excited about for this season?
I don't know. I think I'm, like, going in blind, but usually I don't watch what my mom's in, but I've heard that this show's good, so I'll watch it because
you'll probably
I'm
watch
here.
the first season more and then when I come into the second season, I'll be done. Birdie will be over.
Well, which kind of shows are you usually into?
I like romantic shows.
And, like, The Last of Us.
I really like The Last of Us. That's what I've been. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I really do like The Last of Us, and
And then, like, Heartstopper.
I really did love Heartstopper. I read all the books.
You're going to love this show. You just haven't watched it yet. Anyway.
Thank you so much.
Probably will.
So what are you most excited about for this season?
I think for this season, seeing a little bit behind the curtain in Felicia's life is a really exciting thing, and seeing her with her new relationship and with her ex as well. You know, there's a lot to explore there that we didn't get to the first season.
And if you were Sam's real-life friend, what kind of advice would you give to her if she were to take it?
That's a really good question. I'd say be careful who you're dating. That's what I'd say to her. You know, I think maybe there might be also a little bit of love addiction there, debatably, you know. And I think she could check that. You know, she's got an addictive personality. Yeah.
As your character, what kind of traits are you kind of evolving into this season that you didn't really have the first season?
Well, I think with Felicia, you know, she's really found a space that is her family and her life and her new boyfriend, and that, you know, when we see her interact with Sam and even Britt, you know, it's very much on the peripherals of what, you know, is going on with her.
What do you hope that the audience takes from the season?
I hope that they take that anybody who needs to find their higher power or the thing that's going to make them be a better person for something other than themselves is a really important thing to find. And I think our show does a really good job at making that a thing that doesn't have to be God, and that can be nature or can be the stars or, you know, can be whatever you need it to be.
Thank you so much. That was very inspirational. I appreciate it.
Good.
How are you doing this evening?
Good, how are you? What was your name again?
Nova.
Nova?
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Nova.
Pleasure to meet you. So I would love to know, if you were Sam's real life friend, what kind of advice would you give her if she were to take it?
Get it together. No, I would tell her to just take more risks. Sam, I find, is someone who has gotten a little bit more comfortable, even though, it's a rough road to sobriety, but even like Carol says, get that journal, get writing. You are better than this. That's what I would say. Take more risks. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. A good tip for anybody. Yeah. And also, what kind of characteristics do you feel that your character is evolving into this season that she didn't maybe the first season?
Well, she becomes a klepto a little bit. No, I think Britt is a little more, same advice that I just gave, taking more risks. She's taking more risks. She's figuring it out. She's not just doing what other people want her to do. And I think that one step is the divorce is a big risk that she's taken. And I think she's learning how to be more vulnerable. Slowly but surely, she becomes more vulnerable. She doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve the way that Sasha, do. But by the end, she learns how to open up.
Amazing. We look forward to it. Congratulations. Thank you. How are you doing this evening? Great. You look quite dapper. Who are you wearing?
I don't know.
It's all good.
I'm
You're
so
slaying
sorry.
it.
Yeah, I apologize. This is the first time I've ever been asked that question.
There you go. Quite a compliment. Then.
Yeah. It's like, who are you? Wow.
So I would love to know, if you were Sophia's real life friend, Sam's friend, what kind of advice would you give to her?
Advice.
Advice. Let's hope no devices.
Yeah, no devices. Oh God. I think just move out of your mom's house. I think that is a very huge setback to have, is that kind of safety net when you're trying to make a leap forward into a different lifestyle, so that you rely more on yourself and the morals that you've set apart. Yeah.
And what kind of characteristics do you think that your character is working on this year specifically?
Honesty, for sure. He's trying to be more honest. I feel like in the first season he was lying to himself a little bit. And so in this season, I think he's being more realistic with his journey.
As an actor, do you kind of learn from your character, and what kind of insight do you gain from his lessons and so forth?
Yeah, I think he, especially in this season, just being more vulnerable. I am pretty soft-spoken, pretty guarded, pretty, I guess, the nice way of putting it is stoic, and I don't think that helps all of the time. And so I'm trying to be more vulnerable, more talkative, more open about certain thoughts and feelings and opinions. Yeah.
And what do you hope that the audience takes away from this season?
That I'm not a bad guy, and that I'm also not my character. I have not fallen off the wagon. I know that you are rooting for me, but you don't have to yell it at me all the time. Yeah.
And also, is there any insight? Will this season be extra juicy, extra dramatic, extra emotional? Is there any kind of characteristics or quality that you're leaning towards?
I think this one is more dramatic for sure. Yeah. There's a little bit more of like a harsher topics to tackle, but it is also a little bit funnier, which is also nice.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I want to wish you congratulations, season 2. Now, if you were a friend of Sam's in real life, what kind of advice would you give her?
Ooh, that is a really, really tough question. I would tell her to maybe not put so much pressure on herself. Sometimes it's okay to fail, and don't beat yourself up too hard when you can. Cut yourself some slack.
And what kind of characteristics would you say that your character is working on this season?
Being comfortable with confrontation is a big one, and trying hard to stand up for himself.
And what do you think that the audience will get this season versus last season? Will there be more drama? Will there be more grief? Will there be more revelations? What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of think it's all those. Like, I think there will be some more drama, some more grief, and some revelations. And I also think, if it's possible, like even some more laughs, which is crazy to say because first season was so awesome and was chock full of all that stuff. But I really think it's like even more elevated and even better. So
Sam is like the queen of comedic relief. So do you feel like you bring some of that into your character as well?
I try. It's hard to compete with Sophia. She's like one of a kind, hilarious. But yeah, I try to. I think Joel's kind of goofy and he's a little, he's kind of like a timid child in a lot of ways. So among these sort of very serious problems, yeah, I think there's definitely some comedic relief to be had with Joel.
And what would you say was the greatest challenge as an actor with your role?
Oh, good question. Outside of keeping up with everybody else, because they're all so great, I think, like I do, Joel kind of struggles with confrontation and standing up for himself. So kind of like working through that was a meta experience in a really fun way.
Like a confirmation in real life.
Yes, exactly. Precisely.
Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you doing? You look lovely.
I am doing so well. I'm very nervously excited.
Amazing. What are you most looking forward to this season?
I am looking forward to seeing all of the relationships that have been set up in the first season evolving, and to see the way that those characters grow with each other and on their own.
And if you were a real life friend of Sam, Sophia's, what kind of advice would you give her?
Yeah, none of it. I don't. So
I would tell her that taking care of yourself is an ongoing process. It's not just like point A to point B and then you're done, and it's something that is collaborative too.
And this is almost like an ongoing healing journey for her. So can you relate to that and kind of what you bring into your own personal life?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of things in my life where at this point I'm facing some of the toughest challenges that I've ever faced, but at the same time like developing newer coping skills, and so I really relate to that story about changing your habits and patterns.
And then also, what do you hope that the audience takes away from this season?
That's a really good question. Well, first of all, I hope that everyone's entertained, and there's some very touching emotional things in this season, and I think that working on it, I really related to a lot of that, so I would love for audience members to also relate to it in that way.
And speaking of that, is there a specific character that you relate most to, that you feel like you're kind of living vicariously through or learning from?
Oh my god. I think Felicia she's just has like this fun, confident, like freeness about her. She like just, and I admire that, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much and enjoy.
Thank you.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm sure that you're bursting with excitement.
What are your first premiere because of COVID, so this is a big deal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Amazing. So double congratulations. So I would love to know, being that you're a creator and you bring so much of maybe yourself even to some characters, what kind of advice would you give Sam if you were actually her friend in real life?
Oh God, I would say, Sam, go to meetings. That's what I would say. Go to meetings and listen to your sponsor. That's what I would say. Yeah.
And I would love to know, being that you had your own personal journey with sobriety, what kind of maybe vulnerability or hesitation that you bring to certain aspects? Would I share this theme? Would I not share this theme? Or were you all no filter?
I'm pretty open. There's certain things I share that I don't take credit for. And there are certain things I don't share, but mostly once I've metabolized it, But the scary thing is being vulnerable too quickly with something you haven't dealt with yourself yet, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It seems like such a safe set to pretty much unleash a lot of those emotions. So how would you say you support that safety on set as a creator?
I mean, I think that once you're vulnerable, it allows others to be vulnerable. I think that's the best way to put it. And so everyone kind of brings that level of vulnerability to it. Amazing, in a way. Yeah.
Definitely. So setting by example.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also, what kind of characteristics do you think that Sophia's working on this season for her character Sam? What are some specific ones that she didn't have the first season, would you say?
I think she's working on impulsivity. I think she's working on pause. So that ties to impulsivity. And then how to have fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what do you hope that the audience takes away from this?
I hope they have fun. I hope they enjoy themselves. But I hope, there's also a darker aspect to this. And I do like people learning about addiction and what it means to love an addict. So
thank you so much and congratulations. Thank you. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Amazing. I love the energy. I love the vibe. And what are you most looking forward to for this season?
I'm just looking forward to people finally seeing this. We finished it in January, and I'm so excited. Like, we have these guest stars who are fabulous. Like, I want people to see Molly Ringwald and Ali Sheedy together, because, like, just seeing them on screen, like, you get a physical jolt, like you have a physical reaction.
Natural chemistry.
Yes, and like I saw the moment like that. I think I was so happy at the table reads this year. I would take screenshots, and like you see like Busy Phillips at a table read, and then you see my face in the screenshot just being like, like so excited. So Busy plays like Sam's new sponsor, and it's a very difficult relationship for her at first, which is super funny. So I can't wait for people to see that. Bob the drag queen.
And if you were Sam's real life friend, what kind of advice would you give to her? Real talk.
You can't give Sam advice.
No. That's a great quote.
Person you can give advice to.
If you hypothetically could.
If you hypothetically could.
She would accept it.
I don't know. I feel like the advice that we gave her this year was that she had to figure stuff out on her own because nobody could tell her. So that would be it.
And what kind of characteristics or qualities would you say that she's working towards this year that she didn't the first year?
The first year, she is just trying desperately to stay sober, and it's all about like putting the plug in the jug for a year and kind of white knuckling it and hanging on by her fingernails. And this year is about like, wait, I did everything right, but life is still hard. What the hell?
Continuous process that you got.
Yes. So that's going to be her next challenge and the way that she has to level up.
Amazing. And my last question, what do you hope that the audience takes away from this season?
I hope they just enjoy themselves more than anything else. I hope it feels truthful, and I hope people laugh.
Thank you so much. You got me laughing, so we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Of course.